At 4:05 a.m., every alarm aboard the USS Hawthorne screamed, then stopped. For 3 seconds, a 100,000-ton warship floated in perfect silence. The crew looked at one another, waiting for someone to move first. Nothing did. And then the ocean began to whisper. Radar screens flickered. Something, hundreds of somethings, rose from the black water like ghosts in formation. 500 fast-moving dots. No ID, no lights, no explanation. "Fishing boats?" the XO asked. The captain just stared. "Not unless fish upgraded their engines." Coffee cups rattled as the deck vibrated. Every sailor on board felt it. The night had decided to get personal. Whatever was out there wasn't here to trade, they were here to test the ocean's patience. The radar tech leaned forward, tapping the glass like that would help. The blips kept multiplying. "What's the count?" the captain asked. "Still climbing, sir. I stopped at 300. Outside, the Gulf of Aden looked like ink under a dying moon, flat, endless, pretending to be harmless. The XO cracked a joke about group discounts for pirates. Nobody laughed. The captain ordered floodlights ready, no weapons yet. Standard procedure, assess before engaging. The problem? There was nothing to assess. No radio calls, no distress beacons, no engine signatures, just motion. Hundreds of tiny heartbeats against the radar, closing fast. Someone whispered, "Maybe it's a drill." If it was, no one sent the memo. The Gulf was waking up and the Hawthorne was right in the middle of its bad dream. By 4:09 a.m., sound replaced silence. A low, rhythmic hum crawled across the water, steady, mechanical, alive. The sailors froze. "Engines? Not ours," said the sonar officer. The captain walked to the glass. On the horizon, faint points of light began to dance. Too small for ships, too many for sanity. 500 small vessels slicing through the dark, perfectly synchronized. It was impossible. And yet, here they came. A petty officer muttered, "Looks like Friday traffic off Somalia." Another replied, "Yeah, if traffic carried rockets." Nervous laughter died quickly. No one could explain how so many boats moved like one mind. It wasn't a fleet, it was a hive, and the Hawthorne had just stepped on it. The first spotlight hit the water, white streaks cutting through the fog, and there they were. Hundreds of pirate boats, old engines screaming, barrels glinting under the light. Men shouted in a dozen languages, waving, laughing, unafraid. The crew on deck just stared. "This isn't random," said the intelligence officer. "They're coordinated." The captain squinted. "Coordinated pirates? That's new." But it wasn't the pirates that bothered him. It was what they weren't doing, attacking. They circled instead, forming a perfect ring around the carrier, 500 boats against one floating fortress. A standoff painted in moonlight. One sailor whispered, "Maybe they just came to watch." The captain replied, "Then let's give them a show." The ocean, however, had a different act planned. At 4:13 a.m., a single light began to blink from one of the pirate boats. Morse code. The bridge went still. The decoded message? 2 words. "Don't move." The crew exchanged confused glances. The XO scoffed. "Since when do pirates give warnings?" The sonar officer interrupted. "Sir, we're getting movement. Below us." The word below silenced the room. The Hawthorne's hull trembled slightly. Something massive was shifting under the surface. The captain stared at the depth monitor. "Submarine? Too big, sir." The radar went blind. Screens filled with static. The pirates began shouting, not at the ship, but at the sea itself. Something under them was alive, and it was waking up angry. The sea darkened like ink spilling through blue glass. Bubbles surfaced, slow at first, then violent. The water around the carrier churned as if boiling. A deep pulse echoed through the hull, low enough to feel in the bones. "Sound contact." "Type?" "Unknown, sir. It's vibrating the entire grid." The pirate fleet broke formation, scattering in chaos. Men dove overboard, abandoning their boats. The captain gripped the railing as instruments flickered. "Get us clear," he ordered. The engines groaned, but the water fought back. For the first time, a U.S. carrier felt small. The ocean was no longer background. It was hostile terrain. And somewhere beneath the waves, something ancient exhaled. At 4:17 a.m., the sea detonated. No flame, no light, just sound and force. A massive shock wave shot upward, tossing boats like toys. The Hawthorne lurched, alarms howling again. The sailors hit the deck, ears ringing, hearts pounding. Then, nothing. Silence so thick it hummed. Steam rose off the surface like the ocean had burned itself. The captain looked out the window. No pirate boats, no movement. Just mist and the faint smell of ozone. "Was that a mine?" the XO asked. The sonar tech shook his head. No explosion registered. Whatever happened, the sea had done it without our permission. And now, it was calm again. Too calm. Calm like it was listening. "Status report," the captain ordered. "No damage, sir. Systems operational." But when the crew checked the data logs, everything was gone. Radar recordings, blank. Sonar history, corrupted. Even the black box read, "No event detected." Is that even possible? The tech shrugged. Not unless the ocean has Wi-Fi. Nobody smiled. The captain leaned back, thinking. Whatever had happened out there, it had covered its tracks better than any enemy. And yet, every sailor aboard could feel it in their chest. The vibration, the hum, the unspoken warning. The official report would later call it mechanical interference. The crew called it a secret the sea didn't want shared. By sunrise, the Gulf was postcard perfect. No wreckage, no ripple. The carrier floated as if nothing extraordinary had happened. But everyone on board knew better. Some swore they saw shapes just beneath the surface, long, smooth, moving. Others said they heard faint laughter echoing through the steel decks. The captain said nothing. He just stared at the horizon, jaw tight, eyes red. The XO tried to lighten the mood. "So, we survived the ocean's temper tantrum." "Don't joke," the captain replied softly. "It might hear you." The bridge fell quiet again. The Gulf of Aden looked peaceful, but peace had become a rumor. Back at base, the debrief lasted 8 minutes. No questions, no blame, no curiosity, just signatures on classified forms and polite nods. The event was labeled Unverified Sonar Anomaly. End of story. Except stories don't end when nobody understands them. Crewmen started dreaming of the same sound, a low hum beneath black water. Some requested transfers, others stopped sleeping. The captain received one message from command. "Good work. Maintain radio silence." He read it twice, then laughed. Good work. For surviving something no one believed had happened. That's one way to define classified success. Months later, other ships passing the same route reported strange readings, ghost echoes, shadow contacts, and once, a distant voice on open frequency whispering, "Don't move." The Hawthorne's crew had been scattered across new assignments, but they kept in touch. Every few weeks, one would message another. "Heard the hum again tonight." No one joked about it anymore. In bars from Norfolk to Yokosuka, the tale became legend, the night the sea fought back. Most called it nonsense. But legends have a habit of surviving because some truths are too heavy to sink. Years later, Captain Hale retired quietly to a house overlooking the Atlantic. Reporters found him once, asking about the pirate swarm. He smiled faintly. "At 4:05 a.m., the ocean spoke," he said. "We just weren't smart enough to listen." They pressed him for details. He shook his head. "Some things aren't meant to be explained, only respected." Then he added almost to himself, "Funny thing about the sea, it never forgets the ones who tried to control it." When he died, his logbook was empty. But sailors still whisper that if you cross the Gulf of Aden before dawn, you can hear it. A low hum, steady as breathing, the sound of the ocean remembering.